Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Is It Kino Knockoff Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Bosco, joined, as always, by Dean Chapman, Eli Hargett, and Sydney.
Hey, you giving out
He
my
doesn't get a last name. Sydney Meredith. And today we are going to be talking about Dragged Across Concrete. What are your all's thoughts?
That was alright.
I thought it sucked.
Why did you?
Probably better than I expected.
I love this movie.
I thought it was very predictable, and I predicted half
Very
the movie
predictable.
before.
Okay, so you predicted that Mel Gibson was going to die by the hands of this man.
Not necessarily, but I did predict that Vince Vaughn was going to die.
Ah, predicted Vince Vaughn was going to die. He doesn't have a very good track record of living in movies he's in where he's playing more serious roles.
Yeah, well, my main thing about it was Mel
He
Gibson
lived in
kind
Hacksaw Ridge.
of went into this whole thing without a plan. He's just like, I'm going to steal these monies from this guy who's literally
In desperate
walking
times,
into place.
desperate measures, you don't really have time to to make a plan. I think he did pretty good with the parameters.
I mean, you know, he did he seemed to have his whole life still ahead of him, and he was clearly horribly influenced by his.
Mel Gibson had his whole life ahead of him? Mel Gibson, the 70-year-old?
No. Vince Vaughn had his whole life ahead of him.
Well, he just went along with the non-plan because I don't know what his issue was. I honestly don't know why.
I'll do it for you, buddy.
Well, he clearly wanted to propose to this girl and get the hell out of this shitty town to where he's being destroyed and bothered by all the citizens.
Yeah, but
I don't blame him.
do that in a different way. He also,
Want to be a cop?
yeah, he could seek
I
a
mean,
different
it
profession.
definitely seemed like Tony, which is Vince Vaughn's character, it seemed like things were not really on the up and up for them. It seemed like she was always on to him about something.
I did feel really bad for Mel Gibson's daughter, Sarah. I felt bad for Sarah.
Absolutely.
because
Clearly a tragic tale.
I mean, she was
Yeah.
the one that was getting the worst of it, and then her dad just goes and dies, and like
No
just sucks.
explanation. They don't even ever find out what happens. He just disappears.
Yeah, I guess they don't really know that he died. They just get a bunch of gold.
Hey, but yeah, I was gonna say, hey, they got the bag at the end of the day. Isn't that what matters? It's all about the bag.
My one question about the whole gold situation was, like, where was the IRS at the end of the movie? Like, how did he just
Yeah.
have all this gold and then just buy all this shit and then nobody noticed that he's...
Yes,
What-
yes, yes. That is a very clear problem, but this is a movie. You don't have to get caught up on the details, and quite frankly, you never know. Give it a little bit of time. How long was it? The epilogue,
It was
like 6
about-
months,
Yeah.
a year or something.
Yeah,
I kept
I mean,
thinking
I
in the
believe it
beginning of
was
the movie, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't Mel Gibson, and this isn't Vince Vaughn.
Also, why did that main guy, that was the blind guy in the movie, kept saying, it's all cotton candy? He's-
yeah, I'm
Clearly
not,
a in-joke that they had. I mean,
It's
you
all
know,
cotton
you
candy.
He's
got
a
your
big fan.
own little words. You got your own little dialects. We've got plenty of things that we could say that may not make a lot of sense to external sources. I think that's a nice little bit of lore and world building.
I think the worst part of the movie that disgusted me and I couldn't even watch it was whenever that guy swallowed the key and then...
Oh
yeah.
god, yeah, that.
And
Shout
then,
out Muscle.
and then he was like, "Where's the key?" Actually, and then he was like, "Check your mother's rectum." And then,
Oh yeah.
and then when he died, they like dug in his stomach. That was.
Oh, that was
Yes,
sick.
rest in peace, Biscuit. Tragic way to go. So, let's go and ask this. What did you all think about Henry, the main black guy?
I mean, I kind of saw where he was coming from as far as like, you know, the trying to, you know, get his I mean, he was trying to get his life back together, it seemed, but he just couldn't really figure it out other than committing horrific crimes.
I think
You
he
know,
Think
did.
that had anything to do with his horrible mother?
I mean, he was probably influenced, as in, he saw growing up, or maybe, I don't know if she did that for his whole life, but,
He said
clearly
she
not
was
good.
not, but he said that before he went to prison, he had left her a large quantity of money, and she had spent it on the heroin.
Well,
Yeah.
I think too. It's like I think
So
the
it
whole
makes sense that
movie-
he put her up in a penthouse by the end, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, though, most of the time, you take care of the ones that were there for you, despite their bad choices.
Well, yeah. When you're that rich, you don't need to do heroin.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
at that point, I think
Perhaps that
bygones
is,
could be bygones.
Yeah, now you're
My
on
question is,
Ozempic.
did they ever say in the movie, like, how much money they were getting paid to be the drivers? And, like, because was that even worth it? Like, before the guy got killed
Quite
and everything.
frankly, I think they were meant to be expendable.
Okay, but
Yeah,
what was...
those bank robbers?
They had to have,
I will
like...
say, the bank robbers' costume designs with like little goggles
Oh yeah,
on their ski masks.
that was pretty hard.
Those were
What?
some cool
in the
costumes.
credits, they just have them named like black gloves, gray gloves, and such. I don't know if y'all
Oh,
stuck
yeah.
around for the credits.
Although that one dude, I think he was the one that came out and was like, "Critical attention." In the van, that guy was an asshole, and he had no remorse. This man, I think he was the one at the beginning that was just threatening everyone with his gun.
Oh yeah.
Anytime he went, I'm like, bruh, come on.
He robbed that like gas station guy or whatever, or liquor store
Yeah.
guy. And
Like, shot the
in
fuck
like
out of
5
everything.
seconds.
yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, you probably spent just as much in ammo as you did just getting what you got out of the cash register. Probably $100 in there. You probably dropped like 150 in ammo. And shooting
Oh,
shit.
It was a bit of overkill. But I mean, I think that what I kind of got from the whole, like most of the movie though, was kind of showed both sides, like Henry and then Tom. They're on the different sides of the spectrum, like, but they both felt like
Yes,
what they were
you got two
doing wasn't
people.
enough.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
got two
one of
people
them-
from
one-
different walks of life that the other group might look down upon the other, and yeah, it's just one of those situations to where it's like, are they really so different after all, or not? I think they are.
I don't think Henry learned his lesson very well from going to prison. He came back and immediately
No.
just started committing more crimes.
Well, yes, he did, but his intention was to get out, and I kind of feel where him coming with that. I mean, his main motivation was his brother.
Yeah, I felt bad for his brother. Because, I mean, his mom's just literally in the other room having sex while he's in a wheelchair playing video games.
Well, let me ask this. How do you all feel about the incident that led to Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn's characters being suspended from the force initially?
They're racist.
Yeah, you shouldn't step on people's
Ah.
toes. That's bad. That's bad. Okay.
Oh, that is a perspective. I can respect that, but it seemed to be pretty effective at getting the intel that was required.
I put, they are mean and sexist, they are racist, and they are poor.
Therefore.
I put that Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn are old school no-nonsense cops with highly effective but outdated tactics.
Yeah,
I
was gonna
personally
say,
believe that
feel-
their racial banter was pure Kino.
does
Yeah,
that
I mean,
mean?
I thought it was quite, just par for the course as far as just like, kind of just trying to, they were using very antique police tactics, and in the modern world, you just can't do that. You gotta You gotta kind
Excuse
of
me,
play.
can I put on my shirt? I'm cold. Do you understand what she said? Never do.
No, that was just savagery.
That's rude.
Do you think that it was fair that he said that he would let her go if she told him where the stash was, but he sent her straight to the Stony Lonesome?
She was trying to get a gun to kill them. Like, let's not play like she wasn't
absolutely.
gonna.
Well, that's the
Yeah,
thing. These people are not. These are not your run-of-the-mill average criminals. These are big players in the crime world of their
Real nice
localization.
but I mean, for Vince Vaughn's character to be influenced and to let his partner get him in that kind of situation, and obviously he trained him like that. You know, he's seen the pattern of misconduct in the past. It's not like it was the first time that Mel Gibson's character was suspended or, you know, just in hot water for whatever.
Yeah, well,
I mean, he even talked about it with the police chief. You know, he's like, you know, he's been doing it for 20 plus years and he's still been the same rank that he was, or however many years since he was like 27.
I told him to chill, and it's like, yeah, bro, just chill.
So why did he not
the
learn?
lieutenant certainly does shed light on how field work for cops can lead to them losing themselves. I mean,
Yeah,
but you know, I feel like you could just do, like, you know, if he really felt like he wasn't making it, like, he could have found a different career, I feel like. But then again, I mean, he really liked
with the
doing
circumstances. Well, I mean, look at the circumstances of what he was in. I mean, his wife couldn't work; she was crippled, former police. I mean, his daughter was being harassed. His whole point in getting caught up in the scheme is like, we got to get the hell out of here.
Well, yeah, but I felt bad for his wife because she has MS, which, I mean, if you have MS, it gets worse and worse and worse until you eventually can't do anything. So then he just left her basically with the daughter once he died, and the daughter's going to end up having to take care of her.
Yeah, and fortunately they got a good payout out of it. I mean, it was a situation where desperate times, desperate measures, no different than what led Henry to go get involved in the robbery himself.
Yeah, but he had always been going down that path. Like, you know, I feel like, you know, he was always on that criminal path. I mean, and I'm not saying that they were doing, you know, obviously them, you know, being suspended and everything was not ideal, but I think they went out of their way to get themselves involved in something they maybe shouldn't have, even if they felt like they were well in their right.
I agree with that.
I mean, it's honorable, but at the same time, it's like, you know, you got what were you going to get out of that? I don't think they expected to get a huge payday. It's like, you're going to spend these 6 weeks like risking your life for what? And then what happens if you get caught? Like, you're going to probably lose your job. Both of them lose their jobs. And then what are you going to do then? Yeah, and then go to jail. I just didn't see the benefit of doing it, even though, you know, it ended up working out somewhat. I mean, not for Vince Vaughn, but
I mean, I feel like in the end it made them look just as bad
Vince Vaughn, he got
as the
nothing.
bad guys that they were robbing, because
That's the thing. I don't really think there are bad guys and good guys. Well, the white guys.
the guy that was
because we all-
shooting everybody, yes, he was bad.
Yes. That's what I was saying. The white guys that were running the whole bank organization, they were certainly on the bad side of the spectrum.
It felt so
But,
bad.
you
for
know,
him.
Henry
it's
and Biscuit,
funny,
they
you
just-
saw, you know, you see too, it's like how badly they treated them, and it's like, you know, they're all wrapped up in something bad, and it's not like, you know, they were in control, and that just kind of shows, like, too, like, when you're involved in that kind of criminal organization, it's like they don't play around. Like, you know, you give them like one sign to not trust you, and like you're probably dead. You know, they kept telling them to leave their handguns in the glove box and everything, and making sure that they weren't gonna try to like double cross them. You know, that's kind of what happens in that world. You know, you can't really trust anybody because they're all in it for, you know, for
All they
their
care
own
about is
reasons.
money.
Yeah.
All they cared
Well,
about
we don't
was
know
money.
the the main guys and the robbery, we don't know their motivation precisely. It probably is just money. They certainly were.
I mean,
They
what
had
do
the
drug
real deal
dealers-
criminal
I mean, what do
syndicate
drug
working.
dealers get in the game for? I mean, I don't think drug dealers necessarily care about what the drugs they're pushing or anything. Obviously, they just care about the payday at the end. They don't care about the lives it affects or anything.
For sure.
But that was the part of the movie I did like, was kind of showing both sides of the whole spectrum, and just kind of seeing how both sides, their mindsets operated.
Yes, it certainly shows the duality of crooked cops or good cops gone bad and good people gone to bad ways to provide for themselves and their families.
And it was crazy too, witnessing the bank robbery thing, that they were literally right outside, and that obviously, like, as being cops.
Oh
like,
yeah, what do you
wanted to
think about the
intervene.
black guys doing whiteface in order to conceal themselves?
That was hilarious.
I love that.
Yeah, that was really good. I was like, damn, they really got these guys looking like some pasty old white folks. It looked pretty good though. It was kind of like reminded me of like a little bit of like White Chicks, but a lot more serious. not much
bank
comedy.
robbery.
What
Whole
did you guys
bank
think?
robbery scene was brutal.
What did you guys
good.
think about that lady with the baby that got her head shot off? I felt so bad for her.
That part was so funny.
No,
I bet her husband feels like the worst dude ever.
That's what I said. I was
Yeah,
like,
it's like, you have to go to work. You make more money than me. And then, like, she walks into the bank, and everyone's like, oh, it's so glad to have you back. What the manager say? He said, good heavens, and praise be to him. Is that our great Jennifer Carpenter? That's
Oh my
his name, but...
That is
just
cool.
the setup to it all was too much.
You know what? Well, you see, and this is one of the things where it's like, I really enjoyed this movie when I watched it, so much so that I went and watched the writer-director's previous movie, which also starred Vince Vaughn and that lady. She was top-billed cast for this movie, and she played Vince Vaughn's wife in the previous movie. Now, the previous movie, Brawl in Cell Block 99, was not nearly... I didn't like it very much. It's alright. So it showed to be something of a shock to people that were fans of the writer-director that she was top-billed cast, didn't get introduced till halfway through the movie, and died soon thereafter.
Yeah. I was gonna say I couldn't remember her name off the top of my head, but I had definitely seen her in previous work, that just whatever movies I had seen with her in it.
You give this to my son?
Yeah, now that reminded me of the scene from Saving Private Ryan, where Vin Diesel's character had that little note for his father. Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever remember that. Yeah, he was like, give this note to my father. I always think that part is like, as sad as it is, I'm just like, bro, no one's gonna give your father that note, and no one's gonna give your baby that sock. I'm sorry. I feel terrible.
I feel like the main point of this movie was like, no matter like what race you are, like they're all bad and they're all just out there to get money, and like they all just hate each other.
I don't
in
know
this
if I'd
movie.
say that it's a racial takeaway, though there certainly are racial elements to it. I think it's more just about the two walks of life. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you're going on the straight
guess.
and narrow versus following a criminal path. It's like both sides feel like what they're doing just maybe not enough, and they feel like they need to do something more.
They both need to do that.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's not the worst way to describe it.
All they cared about was money.
Well, I mean, that's the kind of world we
Well,
live in, where it's
what do
everything.
you mean all they cared about? I mean, The
I
money
mean,
was
you know,
the
you need
tool
money
they were
to-
trying to acquire in order to secure a better life for themselves and their families. It's
Yeah,
not.
but what happens? I
not
mean,
like
but what happens when that money's gone? We've seen what you know, with Henry's mom. It's like, you know, you can get all the money you want, but you know, if you don't know what to do with it, it's gone just like that.
Certainly, I don't know. I feel like Mel Gibson would have been able to. He played his character played
Yeah,
everything
he would have
pretty
spent it
pretty
all
solid.
on those egg salad
I think he would've.
sandwiches and cigarettes.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite parts of the movies was Vince Vaughn eating that sandwich.
That was
Pure ASMR.
He's like, I've been listening to you eat that for the last 57 minutes. What did everyone? If everyone had to rank it on a scale of 1 to 10, what are we giving it?
I'll let you all go first.
I gave it a 3.
Oof.
And also, like, it's not necessarily my type of movie. Like, I tried to give it a chance, but to me it just seemed more like predictable, and also just like it just wasn't my favorite, I would say. I mean, I could see how some people could like it, but I think it just was a movie that really wasn't for me.
I gave it a 6. I think that, you know, I think it got the point across, and I think that there were some good scenes as far as like trying to convey a message, or pull on your heartstrings, or whatever they were, whatever the case was for the specific scene. But I agree. The ending, kind of where everyone dies except for maybe one or two characters, was kind of predictable, and the ending just kind of left me just the part Mel just couldn't put down his distrust for criminals, and it cost him his life. And
I kept saying it's just to
Well, I
avoid
mean,
temptation.
Realistically, neither. What was that?
He kept saying just to avoid temptation, but I almost felt like he was the one that was tempted.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
yeah. But so
well,
really,
I mean, you gotta see it from his
kind of
perspective. I think he was playing it air solid. I mean, airtight. I mean, you're in a situation where the guy's got a video that would damn him totally, even though he's already like in a situation
gave him
where
his
the
word.
public
He did
perception is
tell him
very
he had
much
his
against.
word.
Man, but what's his word worth? I mean,
but that's
neither
all you
reason
have.
would
I mean,
have either. I know, but neither man would have any reason to trust the other. Look, I think it was Mel Gibson clinging to his humanity at the end that ultimately cost him his life, because Dean, being a One Piece fan, you and me would be able to tell you what Shanks said: guns aren't for threats. At the point where he put the gun on Henry's neck at the end, he should have been ready to pull the trigger.
I also
Yeah,
think that,
That is very true.
that Mel Gibson was very greedy, and he wanted everything for himself. And like, his character just seemed very greedy to me. He didn't want to share that money, and he was never going to.
And
They would've shared it with Vince Vaughn.
Recording it. It's
Well,
not
yeah,
like he
but-
hadn't been down that road. He was already.
You don't
in
think
a-
he would have
was
shared
in
it
a-
with Henry?
Okay, I think he would have shared with Vince Vaughn, but with Henry, he was never going to share that money with him. It was one of
And
them.
why
was
didn't he
gonna
shoot him?
Because I think he was going to, but
But
Henry
why
shot
didn't
him
he?
first.
Henry didn't shoot. He had the gun on him. He wanted to shoot him. He would have shot him there if he. The fact that he
Yeah,
didn't shoot him
but
shows that
once
he
you
was
pull
trying
that
to
gun-
cling
once
to
you
that
pull the
little
gun
bit of
out, like-
humanity. He'd seen
like
enough
Well,
death that
also-
day.
also Henry had that video of him, so he didn't like.
But it's not like he hadn't gone down
Yeah,
that
that's
road
why
of
that
being recorded.
gives him more reason to shoot him, to make sure he doesn't do anything with it. He was trying to get his phone from him. If he would have shot him, he could have got his phone from him.
Yeah, but he didn't know his passcode.
Yeah, true.
You don't need a passcode to destroy a phone.
Yeah, just take a bullet. Unload
No,
that
but
bag.
definitely that. The ending kind of pissed me off, because I feel like they could have had a better ending, just to where both sides would be satisfied. And I feel like especially if you're rooting for for Mel Gibson's character, it's like, damn, it's like he really just made that just stupid move. And I'm not saying he should have fully trusted him, but just
Well, really,
You know.
his entire plan going into what he was doing was completely stupid. Like, he just didn't think at all. He was like, I want to get this money, and that's
I got
that's
this
it.
great tip.
He needed a better plan.
Well, it was the plan that was presented to him. He had a favor from that one dude. That's what the favor that the guy pushed towards him. That's the plan that was activated. He had to do what he had to do. I can't say that I would have done the same, but
I just feel like
this
it
is
just left a lot of disappointment because it's like, dang, you really just watched this dude just sacrifice everything, and then he fumbled the bag at the end for
Yeah, I mean, it is certainly, it's not a true story, but it is certainly a true message that whenever you get involved in certain enterprises of the criminal nature, you may not be able to walk away unscathed.
Yeah. You play with fire, you get burned.
What did you rate it, Dave?
I rated it. My initial rating was a 4.3, but I think I'm gonna go 4.8.
Well, let's
I
go
mean, I
ahead
did
and
enjoy it. I feel
introduce
like-
the idea that we are doing final thoughts now. So that was your rating, Dean.
Yes.
Expound upon that, or we can move on to the next person's rating.
I got you. They, the whole movie. I felt like there was like a lot of jumping around, and there wasn't like a lot of cohesion. I don't know. Like you said, when Jennifer Carpenter introduced what was it, more than halfway through the movie or whatever. I did love the costume design. I loved the score. It was edited well. I don't know. I was very neutral about it. There's nothing like horribly to hate about the movie, but it didn't sing home to me either. It did have its good moments. I love the moment with Muscles when he that little final stand this is my fault anyway. Just leave me.
Yeah,
I did like.
I really enjoyed the portion where they were talking about their childhood and the cake.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly,
Yeah.
their little code names, Muscles and Slims, they were my favorite characters in the movie.
Yeah, I thought that
Interesting.
chemistry was really good. You really did feel like they were like childhood friends, like best friends. And it's
Yeah,
just
I feel
crazy
like
how everything
it
had
could
came
have.
together.
The movie could have served to have a little bit more of them in it, because it's mostly Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn's movie.
Yeah.
But their
feel like-
moments did shine through well.
I was about to say, I feel like for part of the movie they kind of disappear, and then you kind of catch back up with them later.
I did want to add this. I really liked what Kelly, Jennifer Carpenter's character, said about just the reality of that. We have to spend, if you're working in the regular world, that ultimately most of your work and your blood, sweat, and tears benefits the CEOs and the people that are really pulling the strings at whatever company you're working at, and you're using valuable time from your own life. And I think that can relate a lot to the audiences, being like,
Yeah.
I kind of feel the same way. I'm working for this giant conglomerate corporation. They make all this money, and I barely am getting by. I'd rather spend
Yes,
time
and
with
she
my
got
mate.
shot
I'd rather-
for it. I guess
Yeah.
the correct answer
it's
is that
like-
Luigi Mangione is what?
Oh, yeah.
It's a
I'll
movie.
just- I just feel like, I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like, obviously she would rather be spending all the time with her newborn baby. And, I feel like that relates to people on a level that, that a lot of, that was one part that I definitely felt that
Hey,
people can
management
relate
was
to the
nice.
characters.
Man,
Yeah,
when
but
she
that
came
was at
back,
least like, yeah, that was awesome. It's like, dang, she was really overreacting about all that just to see
there
like
was
the people in her
cupcakes.
everyday life. People that she works with in her everyday life actually appreciate and value her. Might maybe not necessarily the CEO of the bank or whoever, but at least the people that she interacted with every day appreciated her and appreciated all that she does.
And it really wasn't even her fault that she died. It was that other stupid guy's fault that wanted to
Tried to be a hero.
Yeah, tried to be a
Mhm.
hero and got her shot. Like, that made me so
Well,
mad. I'm like,
realistically, given the criminal elements track record, I think they were probably going to be shooting anyway.
Yeah, and I
"Oh, I
think
mean,
there was probably people in the back.
at that gas
They
station,
can
he
just pull it shit.
literally just shot whoever and whatever and did not give a single fuck."
Yeah.
Huh?
In my notes, I called him crazy guy.
That guy was crazy.
Accurate
Guy.
title.
Yeah.
Literally
Fucking
shot
insane.
like a whole thing of chips and a drink thing. I'm like, what is he doing?
Yeah,
Just having
especially when there's
fun.
no one around. It's not like he was
Yeah.
flexing on
He was
anyone.
What is work without passion anyway?
At least he enjoyed his work. I will say, in like one of the covers they had, I think the main cover, they have like those guys like shooting the guns. They're like pretty small compared to like Mel and Vince. It's a pretty cool cover. I will say the movie cover is pretty cool.
Also,
Yeah,
I
I like the box
was a
arts.
little annoyed by the fact that Mel Gibson's character just used percentages for everything. He just
Oh
compared
yeah,
everything
I
to
put
a
in my
percentage.
notes.
I'll give you.
I called him L. Gibson
Yeah.
around that point.
I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Are you a robot? Are you C3PO or something?
Yeah, never tell me the odds.
Also, one thing that bothered me that I wrote in my notes is, why did they think just putting on glasses at one point was a disguise? Like Mel Gibson.
Oh, yeah.
puts them on. They're like, we're in disguise, and they put on like some glasses. I'm
They
like,
could have put on their
"Look,
glasses from SpongeBob. Like,
they look the same, but with glasses on.
yeah, and Vince Vaughn like dyed his hair or whatever. He put that fake dye or whatever in his hair. I'm like,
No, he looks
Jesus, dude.
straight.
I'm like, yeah, now you're just like a maniac.
You think you're
All
going for
right, so Dean and
Halloween.
Eli both have this rated on the lower end of the spectrum. Eli, did you care to give a rating out of 10?
Yeah, I gave it a 6. I thought it was definitely better than I expected as far as I thought that there wasn't, there were slow moments, but I felt like they were all necessary. But, just kind of the ending and maybe just kind of,
Yeah.
I believe Dean touched on this, was just talking about how there was just holes in the plot that weren't really addressed and they just kind of skipped along. And it's like, we don't really know what happened. They could have told more of a story and connected it all together a little bit better. But I did think the action scenes and especially the last scene with the lady that came over there and ended up shooting Vince Vaughn, I didn't really see that coming, so I thought that was a good little surprise.
I definitely thought she was gonna do something because they were
I
like,
got that Stockholm syndrome.
they were like telling her something. I felt bad for her when she had to pee and they like stuffed that newspaper. I was like, poor lady. And she
Yeah,
looked
they
like that.
freaking pistol
Just
whipped
the
at her.
diction there too. He just says squirt.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
that
poor
was sick.
lady. That was sick.
Horrible,
They
horrible
make
move.
the guy throw it out the window.
Yeah, and he's like, "What? Come dispose of this lady's squirt rag."
Ew!
Properly dispose of this, and then he just eats it.
Ew! He did not eat it.
Yeah, that would have bumped it up to a 5.
I myself gave this a 9 out of 10. I clearly enjoyed it a good deal more than the rest of you. This was also my second time watching it, and I don't think I enjoyed it as much the first time. Probably about a year or so in between the watches. I think that knowing where it went gave me a better ability to enjoy it the second time around.
Yeah, I was gonna actually say, I feel like if I watched it again, I might rate it a little higher. But I think
I would
the,
agree with that.
the first time that I watched it, it just, I don't know. I didn't love
The
it.
ending
And
does
Well, I
leave a
think
sour
we need to,
taste in your mouth the
we
first
do
time.
need to keep the ratings as well, kind of relative. It's like, is it, a 6 out of 10 compared to like, like the Titanic,
I love
or
Titanic. I
some
give
of,
that movie an 11 out
My
of 10.
skills equal for all.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Like,
try
like,
to keep
a-
it relatively balanced. I mean, there is certainly
Like
a
a 10's
differentiation
probably
between
never achieved.
Yeah.
tens are very few
Except
and
for
far between.
Superbad.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love
let's not talk
Titanic.
about other movies too much.
And then, the score also changes through time. Maybe at the final episode we can re-rate all the movies.
Yeah, that sounds like an idea. See if any thoughts
Johnny,
changed.
Did you like the
Yeah.
ending?
Did I
What did
like
you-
the ending? Well, as far as the ending, I can't say that I liked it as far as deriving personal pleasure or anything from the events that transpired, but it does, in my mind, paint a fairly accurate though bleak picture of what happens when you turn to certain criminal elements and try to profit from the suffering of others.
Oh, the ending pleasured you?
I said the opposite.
Yeah.
So it didn't pleasure you?
Does it bring pleasure to you?
I will say that as I touched on briefly, I was not the biggest fan that Henry, being he, decided to put his mom up in this penthouse. I don't think he should have just thrown her to the wolves, but I would have done my best to separate her from myself and my younger brother.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I would have given her a little bit and then be like, you do you, boo, and if you lose all your money, that's your fault.
I do think it was very admirable of Henry to have honored his side of the deal and sent something to
Oh
Mel
yeah,
Gibson's
absolutely.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do
fair.
too.
He surely
See,
did not have to.
Yeah, Mel didn't have to pull that gun. Henry was a man of his
Also,
word.
did nobody care about them going missing? And he didn't. It didn't seem like he did a great job of burying their bodies.
And did anyone go to the site where all the you just pull up and there's a flip van and
Yeah, you
destroyed
show up,
car?
you show up back to work and be like, what the fuck happened?
The car they put in the river.
Hooligans?
But then
Yeah, but I'm talking about the van. What about that big old van they
Yeah.
had? The bulletproof van had
there's,
air. No one would be suspicious of an airless tire, bulletproof van with fake security.
three dead guys and a dead lady over there.
Yeah, but that it is a movie after all. You can't get too deep into it.
Yeah, I mean, fiction
No.
doesn't have to
Well,
follow the
let's
rules
type
of
in the
reality.
logistics
It
of this.
should be a distillation
Yeah.
of the true ideas surrounding any given narrative.
I think they should have DNA tested everybody.
I mean, maybe if they have dragged across AstroTurf, the sequel, maybe we'll find out.
And
Well, we
did the
could be getting a
fiance?
sequel. I highly doubt it. But, this man has not made a movie since 2017. This was the final movie that was made by him, so we could always
Who
be
made
planning
this
for a
movie?
comeback. I
Who
don't
made-
know the man's name.
Oh man, I thought you did.
Yeah, I was looking up right before we started this. I looked up the Wikipedia page or whatever, and I did see this movie did bomb in the box office.
Yeah,
the
feel
budget
like
was like
surprising
15.
as to why.
I feel like
Dude,
It
Mel
probably
Gibson, just the
came out
name
in
is
2017, a fairly hot time when for such a story to be told.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Mel Gibson movie, just Mel Gibson in general anymore, just kind of his name just kind of, turns a lot of people off just because of his
Well, we may
previous
get to
work.
Mel Gibson later. I have not decided my other movies, but I am a fan of some Mel Gibson works, so we
Yeah, I
may
mean-
have plenty to discuss about Mel Gibson in the future, let me tell
But
you.
I definitely, I feel like the fact that Mel Gibson is not really pushed by mainstream news outlets or just big commercials and everything. I'm sure this movie is better than Red One, or whatever that stupid Brock.
I want to see
Christmas
that
movie
movie.
that
Yeah,
came
I
out.
want to see Red Room.
I heard it. I digress, but I can't imagine that movie would be better. People have said that it was the best movie, yes, but they say that in the commercials for every movie.
Wait, I sent you guys the movie I wanted to watch next, right?
Yeah.
Did
You
anyone?
did.
Did anyone watch it?
No,
I'm
I
January.
wanted to finish this movie first.
Wait, has
Yeah.
anyone seen that movie? Just curious.
It's a
No,
musical.
I've
so
never
I have
heard of
not
it.
seen
No, it's not a musical. It is not a musical.
Well, if it's anything like the Joker, where they said, "Oh, it's not a musical,"
It has no.
All right, let's go ahead and end this right now. We can stay talking for a moment if we want
Well,
to, but
do-
we are going to.
Do we want to
Not
announce
need
the
to
next
just-
movie?
Yeah, to announce the next movie.
Feel free, go ahead. What is this Chinese
Okay.
movie you have told us to watch?
Okay, this movie's really good.
Are
I've
you
seen it.
Chinese? or
It's one of my
Japanese?
favorite movies. It's called House of the Flying Daggers. And it's
House of
really,
the
really
Does
Flying
not
good.
sound like a safe house to live in, let me tell you that much.
Yeah, I would most certainly say not. Just if your house is made of glass.
Well, it's a really good movie, and I highly recommend it. I have not seen it for like 10 years probably, but
Well, it should be a good refresher for you then.
yes.
Absolutely, I will be looking forward to seeing it. With that being said, we are going to go ahead and end this recording. Thank everybody for joining us.
You're welcome.
Oh, should we wish everyone a happy new year?
What about
And
Merry
happy holidays.
Christmas?
Yeah.
No,
They'll
Merry
be
Christmas.
listening to this in
You're-
Guess
January.
won't be coming out till January, so.
Yeah.
Well,
Happy New Year, everybody. It's January.
it's 2025. Woohoo!
We also need to come up with well, I guess we could discuss this. Does anybody have a name for this podcast? An idea? Because I don't want to keep it the Is It Kino knockoff forever. That was
How
fun as an
about-
homage for the beginning.
How
But I do
about-
want it to pay homage still. I was thinking perhaps Good, Bad, and Kino, but
I'm
that's a little
thinking,
wordy. So
I got a good name. We should call ourselves the Poop Squad.
All
All
right,
right, Eli.
How about the Chill Guys podcast?
The Chill Guys podcast.
What
I
about-
feel like that is a little bit of a misnomer for at least one of the participants.
Well, yeah, and definitely chill for one of the participants.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
talking
not
about the
chill at
guys
all.
portion of the.
I'm not a guy. What about
Yeah.
Hey,
the Brave Watchers?
You know, I'll be the mascot. It could be. Is it Dino?
Yeah,
I'm joking.
that is possible.
I don't want to be a mascot.
Yeah.
We could call it
Well.
three guys
Three-
and a girl.
I think that might attract an
Three
audience,
guys-
but they might
three
be
guys
disappointed with the type of
three-
content that
three
is
guys and
provided.
One girl. Three guys and
Three
one girl.
guys.
sitting in
Yeah,
a cup.
you know what? Let's all sleep on this. Maybe we can decide a name next
How
next
would we
month.
call it? Three guys, one jar.
Oh. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Disgusted me.
or what about,
All right,
what about,
that is the end of this.
what
No
about-
more words.